Escaping genocide, more than 100,000 ethnic Armenians have fled the territory they've called home for centuries.
Well, more than 85% of the population is now seeking refuge after Azerbaijan, backed by Turkey, took over their homeland that they've been there since ancient times. Dale Hurd has the story.
Families packed into cars and trucks with whatever belongings they can carry have been arriving in Armenia from Nagorno-Karabakh after Azerbaijan opened the only road out last week. They say they're fleeing for their lives. Armina Gazaryan, her husband, and 4 children are among the refugees. She said, "When the war broke out, children were outside and they came to me screaming, 'The war has started.' The shelling was from all sides. The children were crying. To be honest, I was scared too." Naira, who's 70 years old, says, "I went to bring the kids home. I was next to the Kirov Bridge, and at that moment, the shelling started. Kids were crying. I tried to calm them down." In an address, Armenia's prime minister called it a direct act of ethnic cleansing, and that without concrete action by the international community, they were just creating moral statistics for history.
The exodus of Armenians from Nagorno-Karabakh continues as a result of Azerbaijan's ethnic cleansing policy. Analysis show that in the coming days, there will be no more Armenians left in Nagorno-Karabakh. This is a direct act of ethnic cleansing and deprivation of a homeland, as we have been telling the international community for a long time.
Joel Veldkamp of Christian Solidarity International called it a refugee crisis of immense proportions.
Many of them are fending for themselves. Many of them we've seen are sleeping in their cars, are sleeping in tents, are sleeping in the streets of the city of Goris, which is close to Nagorno-Karabakh in Armenia. Armenia is not a rich country by any means. This is going to be an enormous refugee crisis, an enormous challenge for all the aid organizations working to help these people.
Armenians have lived in Nagorno-Karabakh for centuries, but it's been at the center of a bloody conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia since the late 1980s, when the 2 former Soviet republics fought a war during the collapse of the USSR. The territory has a rich Christian history that is at risk of being wiped out. Some here believe Armenia itself, one of the oldest Christian countries in the world, is probably the next target for Turkey and Azerbaijan. The United States and other Western countries have so far only expressed concern about the refugee crisis.
A lot of Armenians right now are very upset because, as you said, this blockade lasted for 9 months and they were crying out for help during these 9 months, and it seemed like the global church really didn't listen.
Operation Blessing sent boxes of food and hygiene products to Nagorno-Karabakh in the months leading up to this crisis. Now Operation Blessing is moving to begin helping refugees arriving in Armenia. CBN's Orphans Promise has also been on the ground in Armenia for more than a decade and is prepared to work through its network of churches to assist in the relief efforts. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Well, we may not be able to stop the war, but we can help these refugees in their time of crisis. There is ethnic cleansing going on. This has been a repeated thing for the Armenian people going back over 100 years. And the genocide that Turkey inflicted on that people was just literally covered up in history. We don't like to talk about it. Will we cover this one up? It seems like the international community is absolutely ignoring it. But let's do our part. Let's help. If you want to be part of the Operation Blessing Orphans Promise relief effort into Armenia to help these wonderful refugees, how can we not reach out with hands of love and compassion to them? If you want to be a part of it, call us. 1-800-700-7000. Just say, I want to give to the Operation Blessing Disaster Relief Fund. You can also text OB Crisis to 71777.